Welcome, everyone. My name is Nichel Anderson for my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. Thank you for this week and joining me for episode 42 for my season 2, 2018-2019. And this particular topic is entitled Why Denial is the Worst of Mr. Fear. And this would be a part 2 series. This is part 1 starting today. And this came to me to focus on that. When you look around in the world and you see the root of some people issues and where they come from in the sense of their position on certain topics, we all don't have to agree, but at least you're coming from a base of truth. At least you're coming from what you feel truth actually is based on this research or this backing of thought either from someone else, and you're coming to a conclusion that can actually put something on the table, some meat on the bones, as we say here in the States. And then I also noticed that denial is coming from completely not accepting the truth when the facts are shown. There's a difference to that, what I just explained between the two, and this helps, at least I hope that it can help those that wish to seek the peace, the mental peace and joy. Now today is going to focus on personal relationships. Next week I'm going to focus on denial in the sense of in leadership. So your career, all right? Even if you're not in leadership or not, nevertheless, I'm going to focus on the workplace and hone on leadership, because I am a strong believer that the toxicity or the imbalance of what a company can be always comes from the top, and you have to identify those issues. Once you get the top where it should be, then eventually you're going to find out those pockets of areas that it's not necessarily at the top, but it's actually, subordinates. And you can better identify those once you make sure that top management is not operating in denial, because that causes a lot of stress. So let's go ahead and get started. So in this day, I'm thankful to the prime creator of all things, that I give thanks for this blessing and opportunity, that I will use it for the greater good. So welcome, my survivors of the journey, today to my podcast that aims to inspire and motivate you, that you will continue to have joy, peace of mind, and for your sustained success. So this podcast is going to get right into it, where denial is the worst of Mr. Fear mechanism that he dispatches out. Now, I talk about Mr. Fear in my tweets on Twitter, and it came to me because at the end of the day, I feel that why most of us, if not all of us here that we consider to be of humanity, struggle with things because it's the fear within or the fear around us, and it stops us from going forward. So for me to jump right into my important point, Mr. Fear is the operative entity I like to describe of what comes up into your life to what you feel, not what you see. And Mr. Fear uses different mechanisms through how suddenly we feel, or even more powerful, through our connections with others, people, especially in our personal lives. So we have to get moving in understanding and resolving the barriers and restraints in denial to succeed. Okay? Now, my wisdom point to that is denial operates on the unknown that formulates an preferred strategy by Mr. Fear that leads these teams of elements to what we feel but don't see. So we don't think it exists, that it could be something else, fighting us, right? And so we believe those feelings of fear, and we choose denial, which, like I said, is another mechanism that Mr. Fear operates. But in knowing of the before of what you can do and received, that you actually got what you sought after, or you got something better, you'll be able to move forward towards success. Denial is an illusion of what could be, not what will be. That's the main takeaway from my wisdom point. Denial is an illusion of what could be, not what will be. And for anything to happen to what you thought and then actually did, you have to check your choices, and you have to check the people that are around you. So let's move to my point where I ask why. Well, denial is a safety net that Mr. Fear dispatches to us during our life challenges of the unknown. what does it look like? Well, in our relationships, our main hopes are to experience a loving relationship from someone else and to experience the reciprocal feelings back. But when dishonesty, betrayal, unbalance in giving and only receiving, the other person is receiving for what you are giving them, the denial enters that part that illustrates a person feeling not good enough when you don't receive what you gave to somebody else to receive that love, because everybody's looking for a true love. And those that say, well, I don't, they never got a taste of it or have no idea what it is, because true love is something that on the basis of divine, and it's nourishing to your soul. And without that, we fall into low self-esteem, a feeling of inability to make choices, to make decisions out of the denial, believing the person in the relationship are saying things that, well, they love me because they say they love me, or they care about me because they say they care about me. And even though that's hurtful and painful, I'm going to just be in denial. It's not what I see what truth is saying. This is what it is. So in the relationships, by them saying things to me or doing things that undermine my ability to think and my ability to feel that I can do better. So those are the people that I'm talking about when you're in those type of relationships and it's hard to get out. So what exactly are we overall focusing on today? Where in this week podcast, we are focusing on personal relationships that reinforces how we feel about our self-worth and changes our behavior more consistently when we are in a relationship with a person that refrains giving the nourishment needed, so we can, number one, stay out of denial. But if you're in a type of relationship that I just described, you will go into denial of his or her actual love for you, pure love, true love, okay? That is the same as in the beginning when you first met, and you want that to be the same, but things change and it's hard to accept that. So we go into denial and make it be the same as when we met and everything was wonderful, but actually it's not. So two, the other person behavior continues to refrain from positive love, so we worry of losing that person. Initially, it is a light denial state of mind that Mr. Fear sends out, and he picks up on it, because I talked to this before, especially last year. There's a physical plane and a spiritual plane. Now, if you're one of those listeners that have a different perspective about life, different perspective about what God is and so forth, you have every right for your point of view and what you believe in. I'm not attacking that, or I'm not, focusing on that in the sense that is this where you have to believe in that matter. I don't do that, because I feel everyone has a right to choose. And we all have to choose wisely what's good for us. But what I am here to do, and I think it's my purpose, is to bring what I feel the knowledge should be based on my experience, based on my knowledge, based on the blessings that have came to me for me to get it, to put the pieces together. So initially, I feel that denial is sent out very lightly to you, so you can pick up on it and you start believing those lies and you trust it. And sometimes it happens just a little bit, and before you know it, it's a year or 2 years and you're thinking, I can't believe I thought that. But sometimes it's not actually you. And so sometimes we are approaching a sense of a spiritual part, and that's why I like to say something that you feel but you do not see. And I think everybody, no matter what religious or feeling that you think about life, there has to be an experience before where you feel an enclave of an emotion that sometimes you don't feel is actually you, right? or when it's the same as when you fall in love and it just happens. You can't touch it, but you feel it, and you know that it's rooted in your heart. That's what we call intuition there. But I'm talking about something else when I deal with Mr. Fear, because I do believe that it exists in a sense, because so many people that need to move forward to get out of a relationship when it's decades of abuse needs to get out. It's not easy, but you got to make the path to get there. And before I move on to my strategy to succeed today, I wanted to talk about at least 4 points here about denial when you're in a personal relationship, right? It could be marriage, it could be dating, what have you. Number one, they are in denial and want you to be in denial, meaning that the other person in your relationship refuse to accept truth, refuse to grow. And so after they sealed your heart and you love them, they start nipping away and undermining you. And they create this falsehood of denial and the falsehood of this And this falsehood of denial is helping them for you to stay and don't leave. Second, or maybe it could be both of you that are in denial and you need a breakthrough. That could be the moment of where you're at. Third, they see the courage and success in you and use your worrisome of the future by using words that are unloving, deeds that are not proactive in showing that they care about you. You want to be with somebody that care about you. Care. We need to look that up. I think it's hand in hand to go with love. Is they care about you. If they care about you, they won't do the things that make you self-doubt. And those are the little trinkets that Mr. Fear pick up on. And they send denial because denial makes you recreate the fantasy so you don't leave that insanity. Okay? And based on that, my third point, and they do that by gaslighting you. You have to look that up if you're not in the States. And gaslighting is saying, no, this didn't happen. That's the worst level of denial. The person that's telling you all of these lies and recreating what happened. And that it's really you that is tearing down their relationship. And through that gaslighting, you end up accepting their diverse denial universe. Okay. Number 4, the last point. If denial to the truth of you and them don't stop, it leads to losing your intelligence to choose smart. That is wisdom. Plus, it depletes your spiritual self. It creates your weakness to your physical self in the view of the world, and you do start doing more negative deeds to others, which in turn is what we say karma. Or in the scripture it said you reap what you sow. So you always got to make sure that you're operating and not being so denial that you can't accept and what it is. You got to move from that. So let me move to my strategy to succeed. You have to believe to know that you are someone of worth and to accept for which it's hard to swallow the truth that denial, whatever is offering, how is offering you, okay, it's only a temporary forgetfulness. Initially, you have to aim to remove yourself from that relationship, either gradually or immediately, from the person or people that say and do things that you can't do or you can't be what you want to be. So they want you to believe their denial universe. Okay. The second strategy to succeed for you is denial is deep. It's a deep worry mechanism that I believe is definitely from the factor of having fear around you, right? And denial is a fantasy that you wish it to be, while what's real, meaning it is what it is. And you have to choose the path for you to take to get the mental and spiritual healing. So take time for you to think, to plan, to act forward. Asking yourself, am I accepting the truth? What is the root? I always say that you got to find the root of things, because that's how anything at the top didn't get there without the roots planted, right? Starting the relationship with someone, what was in the beginning. If you're not getting what you got in the beginning and it's like a totally different storyline, you got to get out that storyline. Okay. Last strategy to succeed is you have to make a list of all things that defeats denial. It is a mental exercise that communicates to your heart and soul with a column. So you'll make a column, the truth, what it is. Let that be number 1. Number 1 is powerful in all types of works of research or what have you, because that starts the path. And the next column is the unknown, what you not sure about, what the worry mechanism come into, right? And then the last column is denial, what you are saying to yourself or saying to others or being in a certain way. You're faking it, or you're denial, or what have you, in denial of that. What actually is taking place, what's being said, what's being done. And you have to balance that out. And every day you look at that, and your goal is to always come back to number 1, because that's what you want to do. The middle is definitely unknown. And the only way you will know what would be in that column is when you come to the point of choosing to stay out of denial. Denial is a sickness, especially if you're in it for so long and you've been doing it. It's not real. And it takes away. You want to succeed. To succeed in life is acceptance, and acceptance is truth. I'm going to do a podcast about that, but that's the takeaway on that. Now, let me move to your task to dusk to dawn. Measure your thinking that refrain from repeating or believing your low self-worth, because denial works in making you feel or think that you can't do it, that you will never get something better, when actually you can. So you got to write down your thoughts, even during the day. No matter what comes up, you just write it out. See, to beat worry and denial, which basically you defeat the fear, is you have to start doing things that is the opposite of what they're telling you what it is. And writing out is an action. Action is movement. Movement is life. And that's what you got to do. Okay? Now, your motivational takeaway today is that we can choose truth and work towards the path and speed that nourishes our heart and mind and soul without choosing a way that leads to only staying in denial. In time, you will get stronger than the person or people you are with to move forward past them into something more better. Sometimes the unknown is a good thing because it gives you an opportunity to create what was meant to be. And if definitely, it is an opportunity to show that in choosing truth, choosing that path, you will get to your mental peace and joy. Thank you. Again for joining me for my podcast episode from my podcast show Surviving Your Journey to Success, just to give you some information to not only stay in contact but with the other things that I offer. I provide career consultation, offering the first 30 minutes are free. Thereafter, there is a fee access afterwards per hour and can be discussed on a case-by-case basis depending on your need. So if it is an emergency and you need some consultation regarding your career or choices that you're about to make moving forward, in a sense, in your personal type objectives, then you can definitely contact me. The primary way to contact me is by email, which is info@nichelanderson.com. Now, I do have a toll-free number on my website. Now, that is actually only for webinars when I'm doing like a free webinar and you're calling in. Once that number is through that medium, and it's only really for that, so it's not really connected to me directly. Now, I am working on that, but for right now it's not really, and when that changes, you would definitely get a notice of that to go forward. So just to recap, my primary way is info@nichelanderson.com. All right, so the other thing I want to share with you is that I also provide business courses and self-improvement courses. So that overall objective is to help you to create strategies that work for you, to get you motivated, to identify the ways to get your or keep your joy and your mental peace. So I do provide that on the basis of your objective to gain success, and as I like to say, sustain success. You can find information on my courses that I release on my official website, which is www.nichelanderson.com, and you can go there and you can look at the different courses that I am releasing that are available. These courses are self-paced. They will be identified if they're considered to be like live sessions on a regular basis, but for the most part they are self-paced. During that time, I do have live sessions that once you have signed up for the course, you will see that in the schedule of what days that I'm available live, that you can talk to me and we can go over the courses going forward, right, on those particular topics. So that information is basically on my website that you can go to, which is nichelanderson.com. Now, I want to do a special call out for listeners that I have seen in my stats that are following me, continue to follow me, which I am thankful for. Now, to get connected more, to stay connected, I'm asking you to consider to join my newsletter that I do send out. And to do that, you just have to submit, of course, your name and your email. I don't spam. You can always request to be taken off the list. I don't send thousands of emails because I don't like thousands of emails from a particular source. So I keep it in a way that's informative, of course, because obviously you like the content because you hear and you enjoy it and you're getting something from it, which pleases me. To expand that and to move forward and to get into other ways that I can expand what I'm trying to do is to form a newsletter, to get that set up in the sense that I'm communicating that I can send that out more quickly, actually, through a podcast or any type of thing or production that I'm doing, where a newsletter is more, in the sense, faster to get that contact and to send it out on blast, right? And more opportunity to send more content compared to like social media characters, to be able to to get that message out. So do consider that to join my newsletter by providing, and you can find that link at the end of each episode. I have that link to basically to sign up here for Nichel E-List Tips newsletter. And you could do that, and you can see that and click it. It's a short form, online form. It is secured, and you can complete that. All right, the other thing I want to talk about is basically to subscribe to this podcast. If you haven't, please go ahead. Of course, this is going through Podbeam. I have 2 podcasts. This one, of course, you're listening to is Surviving Your Journey to Success. And you can subscribe. Of course, you should see the subscribe button here at the bottom of this episode or at the top, whichever device that you're using. Now, I'm also available on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Google Play, on iTunes, and any other podcast directories for feed distribution. You can connect that way and subscribe, and if you like it, share it. Now, I am on social media, and so you do hear me a lot talk about Twitter. I'm mostly active on Twitter. I'm also active on Facebook. For the most part right now is Twitter, and I like the whole concept of keeping it short and sweet, but I'm connecting to people in different parts of the world. And then Facebook, I'm definitely on there as well, and you can connect me with that. So my Twitter handle is basically twitter.com/Nichel Anderson. My Facebook page, facebook.com/Nichel Anderson fan page. My official website, as I mentioned earlier, is nichelanderson.com. That is my official website. It's mainly focusing on self-improvement, motivation, life coaching, leadership courses, things that I really love to help people, what I have learned, and also to connect and to try to create the content in a way that you can feel comfortable about it, open up about the areas where you're struggling at. And it's usually pretty much our career and our personal life. So these self-paced courses give you the opportunity to really think things out, because you got to think about it. In this world, our mind has to be able to process so many things in so little time. And so you're here, you're there, you're everywhere, and you don't really get the opportunity to stop, to think, to react in a way that moves you forward, and to get things done, to get a blueprint. And that's basically the 2 courses that I recently released, and I will continue to evolve from that and add more courses, of course, or redo some of the courses that I have. And Blueprint for Success is a very good one in the sense of identifying that and moving to a point that you have a plan and that you can move forward, and that's the key. So at any rate, check that out on my official website, and definitely connect with that and share it with somebody else. Now, the other thing I would like to share with you is that, of course, I am an author, and so my very first book that I got published, that I was called to do, it was my purpose, and I see it now, and it's a part of my whole podcast show title. It's called Corporate America: Surviving Your Journey to Success. It is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It's available in book form and ebook. Okay, so you can get it at any book retailer in the world that have access to the ISBN for each book. So you can get that, and you can download it, or you can purchase it, or what have you. But go ahead and check out my book, and if you like it, share it. Okay, and that was basically given to me to do, and immediately I felt that I could help college students. I recently got out of college, and I was like, I can help students. I mean, I didn't know the politics of corporate America, and over time I even got better at understanding the dynamics and the politics of that. And it's very, very important. So if you do know someone that's in college, you got to get them this book. Okay, if you're already in corporate America and you're out of college, you still need to get the book or recommend it to somebody. The book was a blessing, because a few years later, after I was called to do it, and it was part of my whole purpose journey, a few years later I got contacted by Essence magazine, which people in the States definitely know that's a major magazine. And I used to love purchasing that magazine, and when I was in high school, and I just loved all the articles, and I never would have dreamed that one day, if I continue on the road and continue on the journey, that my name, something that I created, would be inside a magazine. Isn't that powerful? Where it was for me, able to succeed. Isn't that something? So that's why you have to identify your purpose and identify your reason struggles and move forward, and it will get you to your meant to be. It will get you to the blessings that will come to you if you stay on focus and stay on the journey. In my closing, I want to say thank you again for joining me today. Here is my closing statement for you. Be you that strengthens and inspires your ability to be strong in your journey endeavor. It's a good thing towards your mental peace and joy, always to your success.